Am I the asshole for filing for divorce because my husband over-tightens all the jar lids? His over-tightening jar lids has been an issue since he was just visiting at my house when we were dating. First, it started with just things he used, and then over time, it became every damn glass jar with a metal lid. He'd tighten them so much, I couldn't open them without assistance. It wasn't a huge deal if he was there, but if I was alone, it was so annoying. More times than I can count, I've opened a new jar of something because I couldn't get the jar open. It's been a recurring cycle over the past 5 years. It's just a thing that would escalate until I had a major meltdown and freaked out, screaming, frustrated, and seemingly crazy because it's just a lid. Then it would get better for a while. Then it would slowly become an issue again. Just getting worse and worse until I reach a breaking point again. Sometimes I literally feel insane for being so upset over jar lids. He initially claimed that he did it to keep food fresh. After many arguments about it, and my insistence that I don't believe it keeps anything fresh, and even if it does make things last longer, I don't care if it means I can't eat my freaking food when I want. I'll just replace things that go bad because they are closed normally. Then the excuse was that it's a habit. So about a month ago, my husband had a family emergency and had to travel out of state for 10 days. First day he's gone, I discover a jar I can't open. I was annoyed and was going to the store to buy new pickles when the neighbor said hi and to let him know if I needed anything while my husband is out of town. I said wait here and got the jar which he opened. The next day I saw him outside and asked him to open another jar. He offered to come open all the jars. I agreed. And he came in and he went to the fridge and opened all the jars except 2, which he couldn't get open. I thanked him profusely and told him I'd baked some of his favorite cookies later in the week. He laughed and said it was no big deal, and after confirming that I wouldn't be upset if the remaining 2 jars were destroyed in his attempt to open them, he took them home to his garage to open them one way or another. He said that he's heard me screaming about over-tightened jar lids a few times over the years, and he's really pondered if I was crazy or if my husband was really over-tightening the jar lids. He said, this was intentional. It was every jar. And I'm sure he doesn't regularly use hot pepper paste or mango puree or any of your other fancy cooking stuff. Then he held up the 2 jars he couldn't open and said, I don't know why he's doing it, but it wasn't an accident. After he left, I locked the door and sat on my kitchen floor and cried. Then I felt hot and lightheaded. I vomited in the trash can. My chest hurt. It crossed my mind that I might be having a heart attack. I thought about calling an ambulance, but sat back down on my kitchen floor instead. Okay with just dying if it was a heart attack. Later the neighbor came back with the open jar of hot fudge and apologized that he couldn't save the figs. He said he broke the jar trying to get it open. He also apologized for what he said about my husband doing it on purpose. I assured him it was okay. I couldn't sleep that night. Tossed and turned all night. I called out of work. By 10 a.m., I realized that I couldn't stay married anymore, and I made an appointment with a lawyer for the next day. There are literally no other issues, no cheating, no abuse. We had a good sex life, both have good jobs, nice house, no financial issues. He was absolutely blindsided when he came home and I told him I wanted a divorce. He still won't admit that he tightened the lids on purpose. He suggested we go to marriage counseling, but I refused. There is no point. I just literally can't get past the goddamn jar lids. I still feel a little bit crazy about that. I have no idea why he would tighten every jar lid so tightly that I couldn't open it. He has given me no reason. He still won't even admit that he did it on purpose. But the hot pepper paste is in the back of the fridge. I use it only when I make Indian food. It's behind other things. He's never used it. It's nothing you could put in food without cooking it. The pepper paste could not have been an accident. It couldn't. Maybe he put mango puree on his toast or in his oatmeal, but the pepper paste couldn't have been an accident. That's what my life comes down to. I'm getting a divorce because the lid to my hot pepper paste was over tight. If it had been every jar except that one, I could try. I could have a sliver of doubt. I could do something else, but I just can't get past the hot pepper paste. Most of our friends and families either think I'm crazy or an asshole. What do you think?
Am I the asshole for letting you know I am divorcing you by sending you a thread on the website that you used to ignore me? Hi, Stefan. Maybe you will finally listen. And if you're wondering if you can just speed home and stop me from doing this and leaving, it's too late. I'm sending you this after I've already loaded everything in the car and left. Don't worry, I spoke with our landlords and took my name off the lease. I've set up a direct deposit for the next month's rent. After that, you're on your own, buddy. I guess you're wondering why. I'm guessing you'll act like you're completely blindsided, right? Because you've done absolutely nothing wrong and you're a great husband and father-to-be, aren't you? Well, buddy, let me break it down for you in a language you understand. I, female, have been married to my husband, 35 male, for 5 years, and we've been together for nearly 10. On paper, everything seemed fine, but in reality our marriage has been anything but. I've reached my breaking point, and I need to know if I'm the one in the wrong here. From the beginning, my mother-in-law has been a nightmare. She made everything about her from day one. At our wedding, she wore white, claiming it was a family tradition. It wasn't. She constantly criticizes me, from my cooking to my appearance. I'll never forget the time she called me fat at a family gathering, right in front of everyone. And what did my husband do? Nothing. Not a single word to defend me. It didn't stop there. She has accidentally destroyed my belongings, including my grandmother's necklace, which she threw out because it looked like cheap costume jewelry. She's gone out of her way to make me feel small and unwelcome in my own home. But every time I tried to talk to my husband about it, he'd brush it off, saying I was overreacting or being too emotional. And then there's my husband. He's always on Reddit, constantly giving strangers relationship advice, which is laughable considering how he treats me. He spends more time rating women's boobs on Reddit than talking to me. Literally. And just so you know, the last pair he rated weren't a 4 out of 10, they were a 10 out of 10. Yeah, he's got plenty of time to do that, but can't be bothered to remember anything about my life. He'll forget my birthday, our anniversary, even simple things like what I'm working on or what's important to me. But he has a perfect memory for his work schedule and things that matter to him. When we fight, he becomes incredibly hostile and always throws in a sarcastic buddy at the end of his sentences, like I'm some acquaintance he can barely tolerate. And he never cleans. The house, the dishes, laundry, you name it, it's all on me. It's like he thinks being an adult is optional, as long as he's got his job and his Reddit account. The final straw came a few weeks ago. I'm 5 months pregnant with our first child, a daughter. My mother-in-law started making comments about how she'll have to whip the girl into shape and how she'll raise her to be tough, because I'm too soft. When I told my husband that I didn't want him and his mother to have too much influence on our daughter, especially with the way she treats me, he just laughed it off, saying his mother means well, and that I was overthinking it. But the moment that truly broke me was when we were talking about future childcare, and my husband suggested that his mother should watch our daughter while we work. I told him I wasn't comfortable with that, especially considering how his mother treats me, and he snapped. He called me paranoid and said I should get over it, because his mother was going to be a big part of our daughter's life, whether I liked it or not. This is the same woman who believes corporal punishment is okay. I've seen her hit my husband's nephew for the smallest things, and no one does anything about it. It's like they're all living in some kind of cult, and I'm finally waking up to the reality of what's going on. If he wouldn't stand up for me, how could I expect him to stand up for our child? I started to fear for what kind of environment our daughter would grow up in, a place where she might be belittled or bullied by her own grandmother, with a father who wouldn't do anything to stop it. Oh, and did I mention that he missed our first ultrasound? His mother needed him to help her with something urgent. It turned out to be fixing her Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. He chose that over seeing our daughter for the first time. That told me everything I needed to know about where I stand in his life. So I packed up and left. I'm done living like this. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I've already contacted a lawyer. You can't scare me into complying anymore because I have all those texts. You know exactly which ones I'm talking about. So, Stefan, I wish you all the best in your future marriage with your mother and the women of Reddit whose boobs you don't even deserve. Am I the asshole for leaving my husband after he neglected me for years, let his mother mistreat me, and made me fear for our future daughter's safety? Tiny update. Stefan has seen this post. He is mad that apparently one of you found him based on the rate my boobs thing. He has deleted his account. For any purposes, I want to clarify that I left out any actual incriminating information that could lead to doxing him. Any and all people who are pretending to know me or have any incriminating information about me are lying. I am not from South Carolina, I am not moving in with any other guy, and I am also not sleeping around.
Am I the asshole for leaving my partner and refusing to be involved in any way, shape, or form after they stopped taking the pill and pierced our condoms to have a child? My partner has been on the pill throughout our relationship, and we've been in a bit of a battle these past few weeks over having children. I categorically said that I don't want them and started using condoms for double protection. This morning, she told me that she's pregnant, and I asked how this could happen when we'd been so careful. She admitted to coming off the pill and piercing through the condoms that we have stored. I've said that I don't want this and that I'm not up for marrying into a relationship based on lies. She says she's keeping it and has already told her friends as, according to her, she'd done the test 8 weeks ago and was keeping it quiet in the hopes that I'd change my mind. I have no idea what to do here. Help. I am in England and am 29. Update. Firstly, thanks so much for all your comments. I didn't expect this to blow up quite so much as it did. Secondly, I want to get a few things straight, as people seem to be struggling with timelines. A. My partner and I were due to get married in a few short weeks. We have had many long and involved conversations during our relationship about us both wanting to remain a child-free family over the years that we have been together. Around 2 to 3 months ago, they started to appear to change their mind, which I feel insecure and unhappy about, as it is not something that I want from life, which is why I'd booked a vasectomy through NHS. I cannot afford to go private as money is very tight. Again, another reason I do not want children. B. She admitted to tampering with condoms and said that she'd come off the pill several weeks ago. At that point, prior to her saying that kids might be an option for her, we were still having sex, and I was under the impression that we were protected as she was on the pill. I have made no secret about how I do not want kids, and she is fully aware of my reasons behind that, which I do not have to share with strangers on the internet. C. She has shown me a test and it confirms that she is pregnant. I have asked that she get an abortion. She has refused, and I feel the trust has gone completely from our relationship. We are now in the process of canceling the engagement, which she isn't happy with at all and has said that I'm ruining her life. Now, for those people telling me to go to therapy, man up, or that I'm lying. It's great that you disagree with me, but I'd never tell you to attend therapy if your worldview differed to mine, that I should be at fault after my partner has lied to me, apparently for months, and that I'm a liar. Here's a few other things for you. 1. No, I do not like kids and I don't like entitled parents. I see it the same as disliking dogs, cats, or birds. That is my opinion, not for everyone, and not all people have to tolerate your madness. My disinterest and lack of care towards them is one of the many reasons why it would be idiotic for me to be a father. 2. Those calling bullshit on the 21-plus wedding venue thing are just wrong. It's a stipulation of the venue we chose, nothing more and nothing less. 3. The plane thing happened several years ago. The smoking area fiasco occurred over a year ago. Colleagues bringing their newborns into work is a continued pain and just really gets my goat. Just like some people don't like Susan to eat her tuna mayo baguette. It shows a complete and utter lack of etiquette and thought by parents who are coming out in their droves to tell me how wrong I am about their decision. We'll provide updates as and when I get through all the comments. Be kind, people. Update 2. I spoke to a lawyer earlier today who has advised that as we are not married, that I won't automatically be added to the birth certificate. Woohoo! My ex-partner can still claim that I'm the biological father, but without my consent to a DNA test is unlikely to be able to prove it, unless it is ordered by the court. But as I've been coerced into this, my lawyer thinks ex-partner and family will back down as I have evidence. The lawyer advised that I don't waive my parental rights yet, as it would indicate that I still believe the fetus could be mine. So, I just have to bide my time and leave the country till this all blows over. The lawyer also suggested that I go self-employed but didn't divulge the specifics. My ex-partner has admitted to coming off birth control and piercing the condoms, which she said she'd done around 3 months ago, as she knew I was due a vasectomy early next week and thought I'd change my mind. She has refused to have an abortion, which is her right, and I've refused any involvement. Has anyone been through this before and managed not to pay out? I think I've got a pretty good case. Update 3. My ex-partner is going to keep the baby. She wants me to be involved in her life and says she doesn't want to lose me over something like this. A life-changing, unwanted event? Yeah, sure. Haha. I have said that I will be having nothing to do with this mistake and that all responsibility now lies with her and her family. She has been blocked from using any form of mobile communication with me, and I have now been sent 3 letters by her to my parents' house. The last letter included a scan of the embryo and a note requesting that I submit a DNA sample. The scan has confirmed that she is 13 to 14 weeks pregnant, which means that she kept this hidden for a good chunk of time. She has said that she will not have an abortion as this is what she always wanted and that she will be taking me to court if I don't offer to help. The more time that goes on, the more she makes this an awful situation, the more I hate her. I refused the DNA test and sent her screenshots on my lawyer's advice of the conversation where she admitted to coming off the pill and piercing condoms in an attempt to get pregnant. She has now gone quiet until this morning. She is pursuing legal action against me, my family, and is looking for a private arrangement of child support. The amount she wants for this bag of cells is triple the recommended amount via the government, and is one of the reasons she is trying to get to admit that it's my DNA in that embryo, so that can keep me. I have just lost my job. I have no savings. This is going to ruin me, my life, and the only way out that I can think of is just to run off a cliff and hope for the best. I hate this.